There's no sefer today. Anyone remember learning what was Purim? Okay, Baruch Hashem. Some people, that's good. That's a good sign. So we started this past Thursday, and before Pesach comes, the month of Nissan comes, right? Nissan this year falls out on this coming Shabbos, Baruch Hashem, and so we learned the halacha is pertaining to the month of Nissan. Now, in Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to start getting more the preparations for Pesach. There's a lot of them, and today in Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to be starting how to clean the house for Pesach, what's halacha, what's custom, and what is over the board. Just not there's no need for it, so to speak. And I'll start with a story. In Kailo, there's somebody that was learning with us, and he had the opportunity to spend Pesach by the Rav of Bnei Brak. He's not alive anymore. We have Moshe Landau, if anybody ever heard that name. So he was staying as a Bachar, he wasn't married, and he was helping to clean the house for Pesach. And Rebbetzin, Rav Landau, Rav Sham's wife, was instructing him what to clean, what not to clean. She gave him such a hard job. You have to clean all the way up there, here, every single place. So at one particular point in time, he was in the living room, cleaning on top of the AC, let's say, and the Rav walks into the room and says, "What are you doing? There's no chametz there. Get down, do something which is actually has a purpose, not just." Okay, so he listened. The Rav told him. He got down and he continued to other things. A few minutes later, the Rebbetzin walks in. And she says, "Why'd you stop? Why didn't you clean the top of the AC?" So the Rav told me, "I don't have for Pesach. We don't have to do that." She says, "Go and clean it." She sent him back. What do we see from here? There's two things. There's what's the halacha, and that's what the Rav was saying. He was telling him what the halacha is. If you're cleaning for Pesach, you have to do according to what the halacha is. And the Rebbetzin was telling him the halacha is of spring cleaning, so to speak. She wasn't teaching him the halacha of Pesach, it was more to clean the house. So we have to know that Pesach is not spring cleaning, right? Many things, it could be a time that anyways, since people are cleaning, so you go over the top to really clean every single corner, but we can't confuse that with the halachas of the laws of Pesach. It's two different things. There's what's required, or at least what we have as a custom for Pesach, and then there's the laws of and the customs of spring cleaning, which have nothing to do with Pesach. So it's two different things, and we should not mix. So, as a general rule, we'll start off. The halacha is, it's brought down, makom she'ein machnisin by chametz, a place that you do not bring chametz into, you do not have to check that place for chametz. A place that chametz is never brought, the halacha is, it does not have to be checked for chametz. So, a place where chametz is brought into, you don't have to check for chametz. Now, it's very interesting, when it comes to chametz, why are we super careful? Most other prohibitions in the Torah, it's only a prohibition once you reach a certain amount, a kazayas, so on and so forth. Right? You need to reach a certain amount of grams, whatever it is. When it comes to Pesach, there's a special halacha that chametz is aser b'mashahu. The prohibition of chametz applies even to the smallest amount. So it's not just, okay, I found a little piece over here. It's not a big deal. It's nobody cares about it. It's a very small amount. It's bottled. No, when it comes to Pesach, chametz is also b'mashahum. So we're very, very makpid. We're very, very careful to make sure that we clean very, very well in the places where we're required to clean. And more than that, as you know, or as you will see, when it comes to Pesach, in Chabad, we probably have the most special diet over any other community. For most of the times, for most people, most products are homemade, right? We don't use processed foods. And the reason is very simple. Processed foods, there's always a bigger chance of chametz. Even with the best hechsher, there's a chance, it's possible. Does it mean it's not kosher? Chas v'shalom, of course it's kosher, because it could be they're relying on certain opinions, certain shittas. But ultimately, when it comes to Pesach, our customers, we're very, very makbid, we're very, very careful to make sure that everything that is in our property is chametz free, and anything that we put into our mouths is 100%, that we know that there's no question on it. It's 100%, you can feel comfortable that it's 100% kosher Pesach. So that, Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to continue. Maybe we'll touch upon it more in this class, but we'll start with what should be cleaned, how to clean it, what's for no, right? So you have to remember, this is a big rule. Dust is not chametz. So if you're cleaning, you have to remember that you're only looking for chametz. You're not looking for anything else. There's actually a story with the Rebbe. And right now it just slipped my mind, but there was a bacher, I think he wanted to go away for Pesach to make a seder somewhere. I don't remember all the details, it slipped in my mind. But his mother wanted him to be home for Pesach, right? Pesach, you have to be with your family. So I believe they wrote into the Rebbe, if I'm not mistaken. And this mother, she was very tough when it came to cleaning for Pesach. Everything had to be spotless. So if I'm not mistaken, the Rebbe's answer to this mother was, dust is not chametz, and your child is not the korban Pesach. It's not the Paschal sacrifice, right? That you bring on a Pesach.
Rebbe has jokes.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's what I remember. Yeah. Okay, so again, this is a very, very important foundation to remember. So again, on one hand, whatever we're required to do, the proper cleaning that needs to be done, this has to be done. This is very important to do it properly, to do it in a way that it's actually clean and there's no chametz in the house. And together with that, we also have to remember that dust is not chametz, and you yourself or anybody helping you clean is not the korban Pesach. You have to remember that, it's important. Okay. So starting with the first rule, the first general guideline that we mentioned, that makim she'ein machnisin ben chametz, a place where we do not bring chametz into, is not required to be cleaned, to be checked. So it's brought down that you have tall shafas like this one over here, that you yourself do not put chametz there. If you do, that's a different story. But most people, if you have a shafa that you only keeps svarim, there's absolutely no food there. And being that it's high, there's no children that can reach there, right? Then the halacha is you don't have to clean it for Pesach. This is a perfect example. Everyone is probably still going to clean it, but what are you going to find? Dust. So you have to remember, dust is not chametz. What you're doing is very, very nice for your family, but has nothing to do with Pesach, right? So you're dusting it to make sure that it's clean. That's a nice thing to do, but that's not cleaning for Pesach. So such a place, the top shelf over there, there's no food that's stored there. If there's food there, that's a different story. But if really there's never food, At best, maybe put some svarim there, but there's no actual any contact with food whatsoever. This is a perfect example of dust is not chametz. So if you're cleaning it and you're dusting it, that's all very nice for cleaning, but that has nothing to do with the mitzvah of cleaning for Pesach. Now, what about the bottom parts? So even though if you yourself don't bring chametz in there, but it's brought down, being that if it's a place where there's little children, so there's little children run with food, right? Crackers, cookies, whatever it is, that you actually do have to clean because it's inevitable that throughout the year, it's impossible that one time that a child didn't, have something, some crumbs and touch the bottom part, which they could reach and they probably did touch. So that is required to clean, right? So the bottom part, that is required to clean because that is a place where chametz is brought. The higher part, if you know for sure you don't store food over there, and you don't usually eat your sandwich or your cookies or crackers on top of it, dust is not chametz and it is not required to be checked. Second, here is important halacha, but he sends us to a different spot. 1 second. Okay, now what happens when you have clothing which is found inside your drawers or clothing in general? So that is important. So the halacha, it is brought down to check the pockets, just to check the pockets, because sometimes, you're eating something, you have to go pick up your phone or somebody's calling you, you have to quickly do something. Sometimes it happens that you can put clothing in your pocket. So that we actually do check. You put food in your pocket, and it could be chametz, right? So that the halacha is we do check, and we don't rely on the fact that you put in the washing machine that they automatically became destroyed, because sometimes in the pockets, right by the bottom, there could still be little crumbs. So there we do check, and if there's anything there, we'll clean it out. Now, that's all when it comes to the drawers. Yeah.
After, if you put something, let's say, in the washing machine and there's still crumbs left, so it's not supposed to be chametz because it's like not edible for the dog.
Oh, very good. So yeah, this is true. So it depends, because when you run a wash, you use detergent, and the detergent would destroy any taste that the crumbs may have. But the custom is we still check, because if it's a tight pocket, the water probably did get in, but just in case, if it didn't reach every single one of them, right? Chametz is also b'mashahu. Chametz, the prohibition is even on the smallest part. With crumbs, it's not as strict, but the minhag is the custom is we still check. And just the pockets, quickly, nothing there, and chances are nothing will be there if you put it through the wash, and that's enough. Another halacha connected to the drawers is in the kitchen. So yeah.
Is it checking pockets a halacha or no?
It's more if they went through the wash, strictly speaking, you don't have to check. The custom is to do it. But again, that's a good point. This is a custom. So often, if people don't have two kitchens, some people have two kitchens. A Pesach kitchen, they seal it off year round. Most people don't. Most people have one kitchen and they transform that kitchen to the Pesach kitchen, and after Pesach, back to a year-round kitchen. So what happens? So back to the drawers. What do? Some of them you seal them off and they're sold to the guy. So it's not yours, belongs to the guy over Pesach. that is fine, as long as it's sealed, it says on it, chametz, sold to the goy, whatever it is, that you don't have to do anything. But those that you actually do use throughout the entire Pesach, so we actually do two things. Number one, we clean it. And number two, we also cover it. And the reason for that is because ultimately, this would be much different. Because if you, by the corners, by the edges, sometimes it's very hard to clean it out. So even if you went with a shmata, even if you went with a wet towel or a wet shmata, rag, thank you, then you wouldn't be able to get to every single, it's possible that you won't be able to cover every single spot. And what do you do? What do you leave there? You leave things over there, utensils that come in contact with food. So there we're extra careful to make sure to cover it with foil or whatever it is, because, right, if you're leaving your utensils there, your utensils are touching food, on that note, we are more strict on that. So when it comes to regular jars for clothing, ultimately, if there's no food in them, you just quickly check by bedikas chametz, but you're not required to actually go and clean anything. You just make sure to see that there's nothing there. When it comes to the kitchen, jars that you're using for utensils, so on and so forth, so the custom is that we clean it out and we cover it. Yeah, so that's two things that we do. We clean it out and it's also covered. Now, when it comes to the kalim, so Hagalas kalim, the kashering of the kalim, that we'll learn a different time, but we'll just in the past, it used to be that most people only had one set of cutlery, and it's probably not just in the past. It's very possible that today also many people don't have cutlery for Pesach, and throughout the year, they use one set. It's possible. Some people have two, some people have one. There's no difference. As long as it's kasher, it's 100% okay. So for those that kasher it, so there's nothing to do. You clean it, you kasher it, you make sure everything is clean before you kasher it, and then you can use it no problem for Pesach. For those that have two sets of cutlery, one which is designated for Pesach that they leave throughout the year, and one which is chametzik throughout the year. So what you do is like this. Anyways, you're selling it to the guy, right? Because it's chametzik. But the custom is to make sure to clean it, to make sure that there's no chametz on top of it before you start away. That's a custom. To make sure that there's no actual chametz be'ein, chametz that you can see on it. And any chametz that when you're trying to clean it off, it doesn't come off, it's hard, it's whatever it is, that has a special din of chametz saruf, of chametz which is already burnt, and that's not a problem. So anyways, you're selling it to the guy, so if it's too hard, it's not coming off, right, it's stuck onto it, but it's in a way that you can't just, that is fine, you don't have to leave it, you don't have to take it off, it's chametz saruf, and anyways, it's being sold to the guy. Sure.
How we use the sink?
Oh, very good. We'll get there. Very good question. The sink, yeah, that's a big, this is a good question. Okay, so when it came to the pockets that we already mentioned, right? So we check it, make sure that there's no actual crumbs left. And even when it's put in through the wash, we're chayshish, we're just in case if the detergent, whatever, didn't reach it, so we still just check to make sure that there's nothing there. And that's it. Now, when it comes to the fridge, cleaning the fridge, this is easy. Fridge, take out all the food. You take a washcloth, paper towel that's wet, and just as simple as that. And just go over it to make sure that any what's it called? Any crumbs that possibly could have been there are clean. It's better to use with soap, because what do you accomplish with soap? Sorry? Oh, exactly. That anything which is nifsal machilas kelav, anything which a dog would not eat, one does not, there's no prohibition of chametz on it. So when you use the soap and you soak the chametz in it, you touch it, and the soap gets through and through, the food is already spoiled. Nobody's going to eat it. So that is a good thing to do. So when you're cleaning, so even though strictly all you need is wet paper towel, quickly just go over. The minig is we still use soap, just in case you didn't pick up every single piece. At least it's nifsal machilas kelav. It's still, it becomes not edible anymore. Now, right, so that's when it comes to the actual, the fridge, right, the shelves, thank you. Then you have the side door. So the side door, you have to be more careful because it's a smaller area. You have to make sure to clean it better. So the shelves themselves are much easier, right? It's an open space. You just go over it. When it comes to the side doors, it's a malkum tsar. It's a very thin place. You have to make sure to properly go over. And sometimes you can have little cracks or little areas where sometimes crumbs fell into, right? It's in between two things. You have a little space that crumbs are able to fall into, and it's very hard to get it. So that, what do you do? And this is a klal gadol, a general rule. We're going to speak about it in a second. Any area which you can't reach, right? The crumbs really went through. So there's a halacha like this, that first of all, you clean it as much as you could. Welcome magas, until a person, whatever you're able to reach, you clean it. And then you spray anything which is going to destroy the taste. So as long as you don't have a kazayas of chametz in that area, most of the times you don't. So you spritz it, you spray it, and you make sure that it gets all over. Now, what did you just accomplish? You destroyed the chametz, so to speak. Now you can't eat it anymore. Now it becomes destroyed. So the same thing is any area in the house. Sometimes, especially in Brooklyn, you can have cracks in the floor, right? It's old flooring, whatever it is. And the small little bits and pieces that you really can't get, even with a toothpick, you won't be able to reach it. So what do? You spritz it, you spray, you make sure that the spray gets there. As soon as the spray gets there, you know that a dog can't eat it anymore. It's finished, right? So that you did whatever you're able to do. You cleaned it to the best of your ability. You sprayed it with something which disqualifies its ability to be eaten, and that's it. You destroy the chametz. And just like we did with the jars, right? With the jars, what do? You clean them and you cover them. The same custom is when it comes to a fridge. And after we clean it, the custom is we do cover it. And the reason why we do this is the same reason, just like by the jars, because it comes in contact, whatever we put in there comes in contact with our food. It's the same idea. Anything in the fridge, it's your actual food. So we're extra careful to make sure that after cleaning, we also cover it in case there's any bit of chametz left, it does not come into contact with your actual food. Okay, what do you do about your table? So your table is, strictly speaking, is not required to actually be kashered. You don't have to pour any hot water over it. What do? Exact same thing. Sorry? Oh, but before that, very good. We do wrap it. We clean it, the exact same thing. You should spritz it just in case, whatever, anything may be left. Sometimes if you have glass tables by the edges where it meets the frame of the table and the actual glass, there could be a little area where there's crumbs that are stuck. Same idea. You should go with a toothpick, go around, make sure to take everything out, and spritz the rest, just in case there's anything else. Make sure to spritz it, make sure that any possible amount of comments that could have been there, that it's covered, you sprayed it, and that's good. So again, regular tables, a wooden table, whatever it is, easy. Spray, clean, and that's it. Glass tables, by the frame and where the glass meets, often you can have crumbs which are stuck. This is very common. As much as you clean every week, you're not cleaning for Pesach, so not everyone is so careful. There, you should use a toothpick, and you should spray it, and that's it. On top of that, as was mentioned, we do cover the table. We try to use something which is thicker. This is preferred to use something which is a bit thicker. And then on top of that, you have the tablecloth. And on top of that, most people put a plastic, regardless, because for any Shabbos table, you put the plastic, so not to get the tablecloth dirty, right? So you have three things between the table and your food, so you're good to go. That's usually the bottom of the table, if it's clean, right? This part of the table, if you see it's clean, there's nothing there, so you don't have to go and clean it. But if you do see something that sometimes kids can, whatever, then for sure you have to clean it. That's for sure. So if you see anything, or you have a chash, you're worried that maybe some kids, took their lollipops, stuck it up, whatever it may be, then you definitely should clean it. Okay. So you have the small little ovens, right? That you choose whatever it is, so on and so forth. So that we mentioned has the same halachic status as any other kalim, anything else that you're selling to the guy. So the custom is to make sure that there's no actual chametz. You clean it out, right? Sometimes on the sides, if you need to build cheese, on the bottom you can have actual cheese with bits and pieces of bread and crumbs. So that, as we mentioned, the custom is you do clean it. So even though you're selling it, the custom is we still clean it, and then you put it away and you sell it to the guy. So that's easy. Now, a stovetop. How do you clean a stovetop? So you have the actual grates, right? There's the place where the fire comes out from. On top of that, you have the grates. So by grates, those are required libun. Libun, there's a few ways of kashering. There's hagala. Hagala is that you put in something in boiling water. That we're going to mitzvah cover. We're going to learn about it. We're going to dedicate one of the classes on actual kashering, but being that this is over here, we're going to touch upon the subject now. So one way of kashering, one form of kashering is we do hagala. Hagala is you take a pot. We'll get to exactly what kind of pot, so on and so forth. And now we're just going to explain in general what it is. It has to be boiling water. You put a utensil inside and you take it right out. You rinse it out with cold water. But the actual process of putting something in boiling water, this is called hagala. Hagala is kelim. So again, what kind of vessel, how it's done specifically, that I'm going to cover in a different class, but this is the general principle. Then there's something called libun. Libun means you're kashering through fire. There's two different levels. Libun, there's libun kal. Libun kal means you put a fire and it has to reach a temperature that if you touch the other side, this is one side, you put fire on this side, it gets so hot that if you put a toothpick, something, it should actually start to burn. Then you know you did a proper libun, right? I'll just draw it. It's probably clear, but it doesn't hurt. Right? You have a metal plate, let's say. So you have your blowtorch. Yeah, the fire has to reach so hot that if you touch it from the other side, you touch it with a toothpick, it would actually start to burn. So that's the required amount of heat when it comes to libud. So this is fire, so you're actually burning it. So what are you doing by burning? You're burning anything inside, anything that it was by layer, anything, yeah.
There's a self-cleaning oven gets to that temperature.
It gets even more. Very good. Yeah. Well, that's the next thing we're going to speak about. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there such a custom like to do, first the hot water and then the liquid?
So
Cause like, that's how I remember seeing my father do.
yeah. So the answer is what some people do sometimes is to do both is not required, but some people could do it. What some people could do sometimes is you have to, we'll discuss it more, but before you kasher a utensil, you have to wait 24 hours that it wasn't used. So what they could do sometimes is when they put it in the boiling water, they put some sort of detergent, whatever, something in it. What does that accomplish? What does waiting 24 hours accomplish? Why do you have to wait 24 hours before kashering? If it's too much, don't worry. We're just touching on the subject a drop. We're going to discuss it properly. The customer is to wait 24 hours. What does that accomplish? Because any taste which was inside it after 24 hours becomes nifgan. It's pogum. It's no longer an Isser Dera. It's no longer problematic. We'll get to all the specifics later. What do you do? What do you accomplish by adding a detergent or whatever it is into the water? When it goes into the water, it accomplishes the same thing. It destroys the taste. Then you can kasher it properly. So maybe some people do it for that reason. It's pretty much, you don't have to wait 24 hours like that. If you do it like that, it destroys the taste. It accomplishes the same thing of waiting 24 hours, and then you can kasher it. So some people could do that. Some people just wait 24 hours, so on and so forth. So back to the grates. So you have the grates. Grates are the things on top of the burner where you put the food on, the pan on, the pot, the pan, whatever it is. So before you kasher it, you have to make sure it's 100% clean. And then you do a libun. Practically, there's a few ways to do it. The easiest thing to do is what was mentioned before, and we'll discuss in a second, self-clean. If you put a run of a self-clean oven, now there's two types of self-clean ovens. There's one that kashers through fire, through heat. It cleans the oven by getting to a very, very hot temperature through the fire. And there's one that does it through steam. You have to, it's something to remember when buying an oven, you have to make sure to get the one that does self-clean through fire, not through steam. So if you have the one that cleans through fire, you have the easiest time. You throw everything in, whatever you need to kasher, you put it on a run of self-clean, and that burns through everything. If you don't have this option, so the other option is like this. You have the grates. You should put a silver foil or a blech that you use for Shabbos. Turn on the fire for the highest level. What does this accomplish? Why do you have to put something on top? Just draw it out. Well, what happens? You have a burner, right? And the fire, this is fire, pretend, yeah? Whatever it is, yeah? Okay, now you have grates. Clear enough, more or less? Yeah. So what happens? The fire does not necessarily reach all of the grates. It's not going to reach here. It's not going to reach, right? It can get hot, but it doesn't actually reach every single spot. So if you put a blech, you cover it, and you put it on the highest fire, what does that do? The fire now spreads out everywhere, right? So if you put something that covers the fire, so instead of the fire going up, now it's mispashit. Now it goes to the sides and it covers everything, it covers the entire area. So when it comes to kasher and grates, you have two options. Either number one, you can put it, if you have a self-cleaning oven, you can just throw it in for a run. That's easy. You don't do anything, you make sure it's clean. And even that's not necessarily you have to do because everything is burned through and through. There's nothing going to be left. That's one option. Or the second option is, as we mentioned, you put something on top to flatten it out. You put it on the highest for 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, whatever it is. And when you put it on the highest and it's covered, the fire spreads out everywhere. And you actually do cover every single spot. Now, the next part is, we'll try it again. In order to get the fire to come out everywhere evenly, right, you have these pieces. Yeah, everyone is familiar with this, that you have the pieces on the stovetop. Those are removable, right? You know what I'm talking about? They, not the knobs. Oh, the knobs is something else, but this is on the part of the actual fire. The fire comes out here, whatever. And then you have little metal pieces. So those are removable. How do you kasher that? So the halacha is that you have to clean them out well, and you put it on the highest fire for 5 minutes, so it's 100% clean, and it's sitting literally by the fire. So you just kasher it, right? Because the fire is right there. It's sitting literally in the fire, so it for sure heats up, and so it's 100% clean, and you put on the highest fire, then you are good to go. They burn through and through if there's anything there. Okay. Now, what about so often the stovetop, so you actually have the burners, then you have everything in between. How do you kasher that? How do you clean that? Easy. Make sure it's clean. You use any detergents, any strong solvents, clean it out and cover it. And that doesn't require to actually be kashered. It's not coming at all in contact with any of your food. You make sure that it's 100% clean. You use strong detergents, whatever it is, cleaning agents, and you cover it in silver foil, and that's enough. Okay, so let's just recap. So when it comes to the grates, yeah, grates, so you have two options. You can either cover it with a blech or with a tin foil, a silver foil, make sure that it's even. What this accomplishes is the fire by itself doesn't reach every single spot, but once you put it on the highest level and you cover it, then the fire spreads out everywhere equally. So you put it on the highest, you leave it for 10-15 minutes, that burns everything equally, and that's considered a libun kal. That is considered a proper libun, a proper burning. That's one option. Another option is you just take them and put it in the self-cleaning oven. That's even better because it gets to a much higher level and it's much easier for you. You just put it in and you wait until the cycle's over. So that's one option. That's when it comes to the grates. Then we mentioned about the pieces which are sitting on the fire, so that you have to clean out very well. And as you're kashering the grates, after you clean this out, it's kashered also because it's sitting in the fire. It's going to get very hot, and that's already considered a libun. And for all the space in between, you don't have to do anything in regards to any hagala, any boiling water, or any libun, any fire. The reason is It doesn't come in contact with your food at all. So what do? You have to clean it out to make sure you use strong cleaning agents. Clean it, that there's no actual chametz, and our custom is we have to cover it. So that's the Akasha in stovetops. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. And I actually have a story that happened with me in this. Believe it or not, if you lift your stovetop, there's a lot of chametz there that fell in. Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You'll find macaroni, pasta, mamish chametz. No exaggeration. So the second time, COVID, we had to make Pesach ourselves.
What is that?
Which part?
Because of Corona, they had to do.
Yeah. Corona, everyone was stuck where they were. We couldn't travel. Usually we would go away, but during COVID, Corona, pretty much everyone was stuck at home. Everyone made Pesach, so it was extra smart. It lifted the stove. Big mistake. You don't do that, because what happens if you lift it? The gas lines are very, very sensitive. They're very, very. If you don't open it right, it's going to snap. And if you turn on the gas, there's a hole in the pipe. So there went the burner. So he opened it. So we found a lot of chametz.
In Pesach.
No, before Pesach, as we were preparing, but we just lost the oven, the stovetop. So Baruch Hashem, got an oven, whatever it is. But so what's the halacha when it comes to that part? So it depends. If it's any area which you're able to reach, you have to clean it. But if it's something like this where you can't reach, right? Then it has a special halacha of. There's a special halacha that something which a big wall collapsed on 30 days before Pesach, whatever it is, you don't have to check. It's considered destroyed. So the place can write, the halachic authorities write that this area, which is underneath the stovetop, in between the actual oven and the stovetop, has absolutely no contact with your food, and it's always completely covered, and you can never get to it. So it's considered as if a wall collapsed on it, and you don't have to check it. You don't have to destroy it. It's already considered destroyed. So for next year, that was 2 years ago. Yeah. So that's something to remember. So again, when you're cleaning the stovetop, you have to clean the actual stovetop, the grates, everything in between. In between the stovetop and the actual oven, there's an area which you could theoretically open. It's not easy to open, and it can break your stovetop if you don't do it right. You have to get a professional. So if it's a place that you can reach by yourself, you have to clean it out and destroy it. If it's a place that you cannot reach, so the place can write it has the same halacha, has the same halachic status as if it was something that a wall collapsed on 30 days before Pesach, and it's considered already destroyed. So if you could reach it, you have to clean it. If you cannot reach it, the place can write that it is considered destroyed. And if somebody has a plata, yeah.
Electric.
Hot plate. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So somebody has an electric hot plate. See, look at that. I come here to learn English. What do? So then you have to make sure it's completely clean, that there's no actual chametz. So then you should turn on the highest heat, and you should do an irui. Okay, that we're going to learn about the kasher. What irui is. Irui means you take boiling water as it's still boiling, and you pour it on top, and this completely cleans it. And the custom is we still put a tin foil in between, and then you can use it. So if you're afraid that it will be destroyed, you'll break the hot plate, so then you shouldn't use it for Pesach. You should get a special one just for Pesach. Okay, and it's Hashem, we will continue tomorrow. Okay, Hashem.